Have ARMY ever noticed one thing that almost always feels different just a few minutes before BTS takes the stage? The backstage atmosphere may look calm from the outside. The members are getting ready in their respective outfits. The crew is moving quickly. The lights are being prepared, and thousands, or even tens of thousands, of fans are already waiting with excitement. But behind all of that, there is a very important phase before BTS actually appears in front of the audience. And interestingly, the most surprising part isn't a spectacular performance. Instead, it is a simple pre-show habit that has repeatedly appeared in various behind-the-scenes moments, leaving many ARMY wondering, what exactly does BTS do before they walk onto the stage, and why is that moment so important to them? What really happens in those few minutes before the first note of music is heard? The answer turns out to be more complicated than you might think. The moment that is often overlooked. When the audience sees BTS on stage, everything looks perfect. Jungkook performs with incredible energy, Jimin moves with precision, Taehyung showcases his charisma, while the other members appear so confident, as if they have been ready to face tens of thousands of people from the very first second. But a performance like that requires much more preparation than simply changing clothes and doing a sound check. Before a concert begins, the members have to make sure their physical condition, vocals, mental focus, and communication with the team are all ready. They also have to adapt to the size of the venue, stage conditions, schedules, and the different energy of audiences in every city. That is why the moments before a performance are actually one of the most important parts of a concert. And this is where BTS's habits become interesting. In various officially released behind-the-scenes contents and concert preparation footage, ARMY can see how the members spend their final moments before performing in relatively simple ways. They warm up, prepare their voices, check performance details, communicate with their team, and, of course, try to gather their concentration before entering the stage. But there is one thing that makes the atmosphere feel completely different. They are not simply preparing for a performance. They are preparing themselves as a team, not just a ritual. For the audience, a concert may begin when the arena lights go dark. For BTS, the concert actually begins long before that. There are technical preparations, rehearsals, microphone checks, vocal warm-ups, in-ear monitor checks, and final communication with the crew. But behind all those professional preparations, there is an emotional side that the audience rarely gets to see. Just imagine. A few minutes earlier, one member might still be casually talking with another member. But once the door leading to the stage opens, they have to transform into performers capable of controlling the atmosphere of an entire arena. That kind of pressure is not insignificant, especially when thousands of ARMY are screaming their names. That is why seemingly simple pre-show habits can actually serve as a way to transition from the backstage atmosphere into complete focus as performers. And this is where one of the most logical reasons for these moments becomes clear. Focus. Before the stage lights come on, BTS needs to be mentally prepared. Not just ready to sing, but ready to give their best energy to the audience. Jungkook, Jimin, and Taehyung have their own ways. Interestingly, not every member approaches those final minutes before a performance in exactly the same way. Jungkook is often known as a performer who pays close attention to his physical condition and performance preparation. Before going on stage, physical and vocal warm-ups can be important because BTS's choreography and vocal demands are extremely intense. Jimin faces equally demanding requirements. Precise dance movements and vocal sections that require control make pre-show preparation particularly important. Meanwhile, Taehyung has a different kind of stage presence. His expressions, vocals, and ability to create an atmosphere are important parts of his performance. However, even though each member may prepare differently, they share the same goal. When the stage door opens, there can be no room for hesitation. That is the transformation ARMY may not always notice. From a relaxed backstage atmosphere, they have to become BTS, the group ready to take over the stage. So, what do they actually do? This is where we need to distinguish between fact and speculation. There is no single official statement confirming that BTS has one mandatory ritual that they follow in exactly the same way before every performance. Therefore, the idea that they always perform one particular habit before every concert should not be treated as an absolute fact. What can be seen from various official contents is that pre-show preparation is indeed an important part of their routine. Warm-ups, vocal preparation, technical checks, communication with the team, and building focus are all reasonable elements that can be observed in different performance situations. Meanwhile, some interpretations about what the members are thinking or feeling before going on stage come from fan observations and reactions. And this is precisely what makes the discussion among ARMY so interesting. ARMY started noticing the smallest details. As BTS has shared more behind-the-scenes content, ARMY has gained opportunities to see sides of the members that were never visible from the audience seats. Fans began noticing the members' expressions in the moments leading up to a concert. Some look extremely focused. Some are still joking around.
Some are warming up.
Others appear to stay quiet for a moment before eventually walking toward the stage. For some ARMY, moments like these can actually feel more emotional than when the concert has already begun. Because behind a superstar who looks incredibly confident on stage is a human being who also has to manage nervousness, exhaustion, pressure, and expectations. It is understandable that some fans have come to describe the moments before a performance as one of the most human sides of BTS's journey. But once again, interpretations about what the members are actually feeling remain fan interpretations unless the members themselves have directly explained them. And this is the most surprising part. If we have always assumed that pre-show preparation is only about vocals and choreography, its meaning may actually be much greater. BTS is not simply preparing for a performance. They are creating the conditions they need to perform as one unit. Because a BTS concert is not a one-person performance. There are 7 individuals with different personalities, voices, energy, and ways of thinking. Yet when they step onto the stage, everything has to move toward the same goal. The members have to know their respective positions. The music has to follow the cues. The choreography has to remain synchronized. The vocals have to stay stable. And most importantly, they have to be able to feel the energy of ARMY. That is why those few minutes before a performance can be so important. To the audience, it may simply look like BTS is waiting for their turn. But for the members and crew, it can represent the boundary between life backstage and the world they are about to face in front of thousands of fans. So, why does BTS do it? The most logical answer is not because there is some big secret they are deliberately hiding from ARMY. The answer may actually be much simpler. Because they want to be ready. Physically ready. Vocally ready. Mentally ready. And ready as a team. That is why seemingly simple pre-show habits can carry such significant meaning. Every small movement before stepping onto the stage can help them enter performance mode. So, if one day ARMY looks back at behind-the-scenes videos and sees BTS preparing before a performance, perhaps we will now see those moments differently. Not simply as 7 members waiting for a concert to begin, but as 7 people gathering their final reserves of energy before giving everything they have to the people who have been waiting for them. And perhaps that is where the real secret lies. Not in some mysterious ritual, nor in something deliberately hidden, but in discipline, preparation, trust in one another, and their connection with ARMY. In the end, the stage only shows the final result. The real struggle begins long before the first light comes on. ARMY, what do you think is the most interesting thing BTS does before performing? Is there a particular moment involving Jungkook, Jimin, Taehyung, or another member that felt different to you? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoy BTS discussions like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the latest news and stories about BTS and its members. Because sometimes, the most interesting moments don't happen when BTS is already on stage, but just a few minutes before they appear in front of ARMY. When the backstage door opens, everything changes. There is one moment that viewers may never truly notice. The moment when the sound of ARMY's cheers from inside the arena begins to grow louder, while BTS is still behind the stage. The lights are ready. The opening music is waiting. The crew is already in position. And on the other side of the stage, thousands of ARMY have no idea what is happening just a few meters away from them. That is when the atmosphere usually changes. Conversations that previously sounded casual begin to fade. Concentration increases. The members start truly preparing themselves for what is about to happen. And if until now we have only seen the final result, the question becomes even more intriguing. What actually happens to BTS right before they appear in front of ARMY? From laughter to focus. One of the most interesting things about various behind-the-scenes contents is the contrast between the backstage atmosphere and the atmosphere on stage. A few minutes before performing, BTS can look like a group of friends simply spending time together. There are jokes, small conversations, relaxed expressions. But as the moment approaches, their focus gradually changes. And this actually makes perfect sense. A BTS concert isn't simply about standing in front of a microphone and singing a few songs. Their performances involve choreography, position changes, interactions with the audience, stage effects, transitions between different sections of the show, and coordination with the production team. Even one small mistake can affect the next moment. That is why the final few minutes before a performance are incredibly important. They have to make sure their bodies are ready to move. Their voices are ready to perform. Their microphones and technical equipment are working properly. And their minds are completely focused on the show. This is why something that looks simple from the outside can actually be an important part of a performer's job. Jungkook and the pressure of starting. Then there is Jungkook. As one of the members who often handles demanding vocal parts while also performing high-energy choreography, the transition from backstage to the stage is certainly not something that can be taken lightly. Once the lights come on, there is no opportunity to say, "Wait, I'm not ready yet." The show has to go on. That is why preparation is so important. This does not mean that Jungkook always follows one specific ritual before every performance. There is not enough evidence to make that claim. However, through various BTS contents, we can see that physical and mental preparation is an important part of their lives as performers. And perhaps this is exactly the part that is often misunderstood. ARMY sometimes sees a particular moment in a video and assumes that it is something the member always does. But the context of every concert can be different. The location is different. The circumstances are different. The schedule is different. Even the member's physical condition can be different. So what may look like a ritual is not necessarily a fixed rule. Jimin and the details that cannot be missed. For Jimin, details are also an important part of the process. His movements have to be precise. His expressions have to match the song. His vocals have to remain controlled even while his body is moving intensely. And all of that requires concentration. That is why warming up and preparing are not simply formalities. When viewers see Jimin performing with confidence, they may not see the process that took place just a few minutes earlier. They only see the final result. But backstage, that preparation helps a performer enter the best possible state. And the same applies to every member. Taehyung and the change in atmosphere. Then there is Taehyung. One of the things that makes Taehyung so captivating on stage is his ability to transform his expressions and create an atmosphere. But precisely because of that, the moments before a performance can be especially interesting. When someone has to perform in front of thousands of people, focus isn't just about memorizing lyrics. There is energy that needs to be built. There is an atmosphere that needs to be felt. And there is an emotional connection with the audience that has to emerge once the performance begins. That is why some ARMY often pay close attention to Taehyung's expressions before he performs and try to figure out what he might be thinking. But this is where we need to be careful. A person's expression is not definitive proof of how they feel. If a member looks quiet, it does not automatically mean they are sad. If they look serious, it does not mean there is a problem. And if they look extremely excited, it does not necessarily mean that everything is going perfectly. Without a direct statement from the member or an official source, we can only describe these things as observations or fan interpretations. But ARMY has noticed one pattern. Even so, there is one pattern that is difficult to ignore. The more behind-the-scenes content that is released, the clearer it becomes that BTS relies heavily on teamwork before performing. They are not 7 people standing independently. They have to move as one unit. When one song ends, the next one has to begin. When one member speaks, the others need to know when to take over. When the choreography begins, everyone has to be in the right position. And when ARMY gives an overwhelming response, they have to be able to use that energy without losing their concentration. So perhaps this is the real reason why preparing together is so important. Because BTS isn't just preparing for a performance. They are preparing their coordination as a team. Not a mysterious ritual, but something much simpler. On the internet, something that happens repeatedly can easily turn into a theory. One video shows a member doing something. Another video shows a similar moment. Then fans begin connecting the dots. Do they always do this? Is this BTS's pre-concert ritual? Is there a special meaning behind it? Those questions are certainly interesting, but facts and speculation should still be kept separate. There is no reason to call something a special ritual if BTS themselves have never confirmed it. It is safer to say that they have routines for preparing before performances. And that routine itself is already fascinating. Because in the world of professional performance, consistency is extremely important. So, what makes it shocking? The answer isn't something frightening, nor is it some huge secret being hidden from ARMY. What is actually surprising is how much work takes place before a performance that may only last a few minutes. When Jungkook sings steadily, there is preparation behind it. When Jimin performs the choreography flawlessly, there is preparation behind it. When Taehyung looks at the audience and builds the atmosphere, there is preparation behind it. When all 7 members stand together on stage and make everything look effortless, there has actually been an enormous amount of coordination beforehand. And that is what viewers often don't see. Perfection on stage usually begins with preparation that happens away from the audience's eyes. The final moments before taking the stage. Now imagine the situation. The sound of the audience grows louder. The arena lights begin to dim. The crew gives the signal. Everyone knows the moment is almost here. BTS is behind the stage. In just a little while, they will appear. Within seconds, they have to leave the backstage atmosphere and enter an entirely different world. A world where tens of thousands of eyes are focused on them. A world where every movement is noticed. A world where every note can be heard. A world where ARMY may have waited for months just to see them in person. And when the door leading to the stage finally opens, there is no more time to hesitate. They walk out. The music begins. The lights come on, and the sound of ARMY instantly fills the arena. At that moment, all the preparation that came before finally has one purpose: to deliver the best performance possible. So, what is BTS's secret before performing? If we return to the question from the beginning, the answer turns out to be more complicated than a simple ritual. There is no strong evidence that BTS always performs one secret action before every performance. What we can see from various behind-the-scenes materials instead points to something much more realistic: preparation, concentration, coordination, and togetherness. And perhaps that is what makes the story even more interesting. Because BTS doesn't need a mysterious ritual to amaze ARMY. Their discipline alone is enough. In front of the cameras, they are superstars. On stage, they are performers capable of entertaining an entire arena. But just minutes earlier, they are simply 7 people making sure that everyone is ready to face the performance together. And perhaps there is something especially beautiful about that. When BTS finally appears in front of ARMY, they no longer need to think about how to look perfect. They simply need to do what they have prepared together.
Sing, dance,
Interact, and deliver the energy that ARMY has been waiting for. So the next time you watch a BTS concert, don't just pay attention to what happens after the lights come on. Imagine what might have happened a few minutes earlier. Because sometimes, the biggest story of a performance begins when the audience hasn't seen anything yet. ARMY, do you think BTS has a special habit before taking the stage that the public doesn't know much about? Or do you think all of it is simply part of their professional preparation as performers? Share your theories and opinions in the comments. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed this discussion. Subscribe for the latest news and stories about BTS, Jungkook, Jimin, Taehyung, and the other members. And most importantly, don't believe every theory circulating on social media. Enjoy the moments, check the sources, and let the facts speak for themselves. Because behind every BTS performance that looks perfect,